Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Interesting as Fuck. Um, I'm Linda, and I'm here with Elaine. Um, we
Hello.
are we are rocking deeper voices than usual, as
Oh,
we
yeah.
have we have permagerms around us in the form of small humans that happen to grab every germ except the ones that the lessons we teach them, and just they grab on the germs. But
This
that's why. So
time
we will,
of year.
as Elaine says, we are real as fuck. And so we will be coughing, sneezing, and sniffling through this one. Um,
Yeah.
but do we have a doozy for all y'all today? And this is obviously the doc is in, and as we mentioned in the previous episode, it is the documentary, and I only remember A Fistful of Quarters
King
or
of
whatever.
Kong.
King of
Fistful of
Kong,
Quarters.
Fistful of Quarters, and we are going to discuss all of that today. And I'm introducing a new thing, so stay tuned for that. Um, but yeah, we are doing the doc is in, and really, Elaine, take it away.
Yeah.
Tell
Yeah.
us how you heard of this. Tell
Yeah.
us, your impressions, and then I will start just screaming into the void about.
Yeah. This one might be in like my top 10 favorite documentaries of all time, partially because it's just like shocking that it can elicit such strong emotions over a goddamn arcade game. Yes, and then
Goddamn
Linda
arcade
mentioned,
game.
yeah, Linda mentioned I have
God.
like perma party girl voice right now between like toddler disgustingness and allergy to leaf mold. So thank you all for dealing with this. But yeah, so I came about this in like the late aughts, I guess we would call it, the late 2000s, and then 2010 and 2011. I was just like crushing Netflix, like, when they sent you the two DVDs, but they had all of these documentaries. And one of my really close guy friends and I from growing up, he was always really into documentaries. And so he had, like, anytime he watched a good one, he would send me a list. And a lot of those are on our list. So this is absolutely one of them. This was one of the first ones I watched. And I just remember being like, I've never been so angry about something so stupid in my whole life. So, as all of y'all, I hope watched, The King of Kong, A Fistful of Quarters is about the Guinness World Record score for the arcade game Donkey Kong. And I grew up playing Donkey Kong, but on Super Nintendo, Donkey Kong and Donkey Kong 2 and the Mineshaft level is literally probably where all of my mistrust issues started. Um, like trying to spell out Kong with the gold letters and then those like little bunches of bananas they would put just a little low enough that you would like fall off the like it's a whole thing. I had never played the arcade game, but like whether or not you ever played video games has nothing to do with this. If you're someone who's competitive or just likes a good, ridiculous fucking story and like good versus bad guy, this is totally for you. So we have our good guy, Steve Wiebe. We love Steve Wiebe.
Steve. We love Steve Wiebe.
We have our bad guy, Billy
We
Mitchell.
hate Billy Mitchell.
Billy Mitchell's a motherfucker. But
Motherfucking
like,
Billy Mitchell.
never in my life would I think I would care so much about something so stupid. So yeah, so it's about the world. It's about the world record for Donkey Kong, the arcade game. And as you all watched, this just saga ensues. Right? There's all of these questions of legitimacy and if someone actually got the score, but because this guy, Billy Mitchell, who, claims himself as the King of Kong, he kind of runs everything. Like, he constantly gets poor Steve Wiebe's score either put into question, disqualified, or immediately beats it. Um, and it's just an infuriating story, but also one that I think unites everyone behind one person, which, like, who doesn't love a good story like that? I'll add 2 more points, and then I am dying to hear Linda's, thoughts on this because I know she's just been like, the texts I was getting were just so amazing.
Text was just screaming into the void.
So one point of it is, I've been to the fun spot. So I worked on in yes, in New Hampshire. I worked on a campaign in New Hampshire, for many years ago because it was a long time ago. I've been to every single
Beep.
town. Yeah, I've been to every single town in that state, and I remember like we had to do a campaign stop there. Like it was just we're like, what the fuck am I doing? The New Hampshire's like the weirdest election state, but it's also my favorite, which is why I went and worked there. Big stops include dump days where you literally go stand at the town dump and shake hands because on I think it was Saturdays or Sundays, like that was the day you could come to the dump and dump the big items. And then it was random places like the Fun Spot, which is like a world renowned arcade hall where COVID may have started. Like it's kind of gross and like a rundown arcade place, or was at the time, but it was beautiful. Like just such a fun, ridiculous place. Um, and then my final thought is I don't know that I've ever screamed laughing so loud in a documentary as when that little nerd starts walking around being like, yo, there might be a kill screen. Hey, guys, heads up. There might be a kill screen. Kill screen coming up. Has kill screen coming up. I was screaming with laughter because it was just, everyone was so serious about it. And like, I don't know, that was just my reaction. I will never forget it. And even rewatching it, I like forgot about the scene. And when it came back up, I just died laughing again because I was just like, what is happening? What is this?
So I going into this documentary was like, I am not gonna text what the fuck to Elaine. I'm not gonna do it. I do it all the time. I'm gonna be better. Well, I failed. And I swear to God, I was just screaming. Like it wasn't even like coherent. I was just like, what is happening? And I had to walk away from a documentary. I had to walk away because the rage of this
Rage.
random Billy Mitchell dude who's just hanging out on a sofa telling people, "Oh, well, what's happening?" And like just the whole thing is just fucking insane. And then which got me thinking about when systems are put in place. Billy Mitchell, in
Mm-hmm.
essence, is a system, right? He's a system.
100%.
And Steve Wiebe is trying to kind of change it, trying to, kind of come up and do it. And he just seems like the good guy who just wants to do something, right? And what I think, angers us the most or angered me the most is how hurt Steve, like you saw his purity and it was just
No.
so lovely. And I think that's kind of what it is. But I would like to introduce a new feature to the doc is in, and it's called the what the fuck meter. And it's a scale from 0 to 10 on obviously me yelling what the fuck around what documentary Elaine tells me to watch. And this one was an 11, and it was an 11 out of 10. It was an 11 out of 10. And the thing that like gets you the most is like all of these people are around Billy Mitchell and you're like, how do you not see it?
Yeah.
How do you not see the corruption? How do you not see that the wool is over your eyes? Or, maybe he's paying people off or something, but it's just so interesting because like I said, and I texted this to Lane, it reminds me of the patriarchy. There's one system that is in place, and you have people that do not benefit from it. However, support that system. And I think this documentary, even though it seemed like it was more like made Billy Mitchell seemed to have like it was more of like Billy Mitchell trying to get his story out there. It just did not do Billy Mitchell any good. Like, I walked
No.
away from this going, because, he's like talking on the phone on his couch in his house. And you're like, this guy, like, had to have paid this document, or there was something about him trying to get
Right.
his story out there. And it just was not a good one, like, at all.
No, but, like, the self-image he must have. Also, his hair is so straight, it makes me mad because, like, I want my hair
Yeah.
to be that straight all the time. Like, I just need it to, like he lives in Florida too, like, "Bro, get that humidity in there and make it look bad," but it doesn't. He's
Yeah.
got that, like, perfectly straight hair that I will just never have.
Yeah. I will never have that hair. And one of the things about him is that he just seems so sleazy.
So sleazy.
Like, if I was in
Ugh.
a dark alleyway with him, I would like like I would scream. Like, I would be like, I'm not safe. Like, like, I'm not safe. Definitely not safe. But yeah, I mean, it's just basically you looking at a story going, this is so unfair. The
Yeah.
whole thing is unfair. And nobody seems to question the unfairness of it. And I think that's
Yeah.
why it makes you so angry, because you're like, we're watching the same thing, guys. Pretty sure we're watching all the same things. And
Yeah.
also, note and kind of highlight for Steve Wiebe's wife.
Right. God bless.
God
Like,
bless.
that woman, a saint. Amazing. Um,
God bless.
but I think even, like, this documentary being made, right, has brought all of that to light, and it's such a fascinating story, and this is why I love documentaries. And what's crazy, so I looked up where they both are kind of
Okay.
today,
Okay.
and the saga ensues. So this was made in 2007. Excuse me. And um as I say recent as if this isn't like already over half a decade ago, but in 2018, Wiebe was recognized as the first person to ever reach a score of over 1,000,000 points on Donkey Kong. So that was a big deal. The title was granted by Twin Galaxies, which Twin Galaxies, right? They're the ones that run the whole contest. They're kind of like the the beholder of the records.
Right.
Um, uh, it was that was really kind of the last big thing he did. Although in 2020, it said he broke 1.1 million point barrier. Um, so he's still kind of at it. Billy Mitchell, there's even like more recent shit. So there's all this controversy about all of his records. Like it's he was kind of in a like fuck around and find out type of situation, as I think we can all agree, right? Like this whole documentary, like there's no questioning like who you're for and who you're against while watching this. Like there's just no way. So basically since that came out, there have been investigations into like the cabinets that he's used, and these are all terms that like I had to look up because again I'm not a gamer, but they've like had to look up all sorts of shit like around his wins. They were challenged, they were removed, they were reinstated, there's all this stuff. So literally as recent as January of 2024, this year, Billy Mitchell and Twin Galaxies have had a case settled. Like as recently as January of 2024. And it all of it is inclusive of all this Donkey Kong shit, King of Kong. Twin Galaxies had investigated him because they said that there's no way he could have gotten the records that he did, and like because right as we see in the documentary, the day that Steve Wiebe gets one, all of a sudden the next day Billy Mitchell's there getting it again or breaking it.
Or he's
So
and
they
he's not even physically there. He does it
right
like somewhere.
submit a VHS, which like for those of you children who are younger than us millennials, we still remember having to put those into a VHS
Oh,
player.
honey, oh, honey, sweetie baby.
Like such lost. such lost tangible media. But basically, so like they said that his joystick could move 8 ways as opposed to the standard four. Like there's been forensic analysis to say like there's no possible way that he technically could have like gotten these scores. And so there's literally for 20 years there's been this back and forth between this dumb motherfucker and Twin Galaxies and all these other people now that are involved in it. It's absolutely insane because I was like, we should, like, if we're going to watch this is a long time ago, we should have an update. And I was reading through some of it and I'm just like, what the actual fuck? And I was getting mad. I was getting enraged again. I do not like this guy.
And right now, I am mad again. I am
Yeah.
mad again. Why the we have other problems to solve.
I know. I know.
Oh
But
God.
it's,
And
yeah.
it's just bananas. Like the whole bananas, and pardon the pun, unintentionally, because it sounds so fun. But I don't know, like, you just watch it and it just your blood starts to fucking boil. And now somehow it's like less boiling because at least he got his comeuppance. But almost 20 years later, I mean,
I know. I know. Also, if you are ever in Florida, I guess, and if you are fascinated by these people and are starstruck by this type of thing, I guess Billy Mitchell's family owns Ricky's restaurants in Hollywood, Florida, and Pembroke Pines, and sells Ricky's world famous hot sauce. So if you're ever in the
why is it
area,
Ricky? Why is it
I have
Ricky?
no idea.
Oh my God.
I don't know anything about Ricky's restaurants,
I
but
don't know. I don't know either. But anyway, yeah, this it's just a sleazeball story of some guy trying to like keep his, dominance when the dominance was all fake anyway.
yeah, but like here we are talking about him,
Yeah.
you know, but it's because it's a really compelling story and because the documentary is so good and because I root for our guy Steve Wiebe. I really do. And like you said, God bless his wife because how supportive is she, especially when he like moves an arcade game like into their basement, not even their basement, into the garage. And like this man works like a 9 to 5 job. So like he's coming home from work, or I know he started playing because he was either on sabbatical or left his job. I can't remember how it started, but unemployed, kind of started playing, then got into it. But like the man has a full-time job, and then it's
And
awesome.
like
So
two kids. And two kids.
yeah,
The very funny. I think why it's compelling is also we can see ourselves in it. We've all felt somehow one time or another that we were unfairly looked over for something, unfairly,
Mhm.
something wasn't fair, like somebody accused you of something that you didn't do, somebody did something, stole your idea at work, somebody. I think, I think we can all see ourselves in Steve Wiebe and we all know a Billy Mitchell.
Yes, great
And I
point.
and I think that because it like just it touches like clear emotion there that like, and I'm only saying this because I rewatched Inside Out this week.
Oh,
And so I think it's like it just you can put yourself in Steve Wiebe's shoes
yep,
and you can say, "Hey, sometimes things are shitty and I was doing something to cope," or something like that. And it's just it just hooks you in and you are there just feeling everything Steve is feeling um during it. I think that's and I think that's what makes compelling documentaries. And I think the documentaries that we've kind of watched all kind of have that theme, right? It touches upon the human experience in a way that the viewer can really tap into and really understands that feeling. They might not understand the situation, like they've never been in a situation like this, but I think they can tap into those feelings. In this case,
totally.
frustration and injustice. And I think
Totally, and I
that's what
think he
makes it
was
compelling.
Sorry.
No,
I think he's it was so sweet to watch him too because like you could see I think he had this like incredible dichotomy of like it's okay, like I tried and I'm up against bigger forces and bigger people, but at the same time you could see how hurt he was, especially when he kept getting like hammered and hammered and hammered over it. Like it's hard not to take stuff like that personal, but I do think he was like he had a little bit of both of that where it's like, all right, well, I tried. I'm gonna keep trying, but like I'm not gonna let this get me down. But at the same time, like it's really hard to like not have that impact you, even though it's about a video game. It's so much. I know it's not ultimately about a video game, but like,
yeah, but it is, right? It's always like it's
yeah,
about a goal that we want to attain somehow and kind of get ourselves, make ourselves better at something or yeah, it's definitely I think it's definitely something that's what makes this compelling. I think that's how I reacted to it so well that I really clicked with that. So so and again, what the fuck meter? 11 out of 10.
what we need to do is think back to. I mean, you can do it now off the cuff if you want,
Yeah,
but
I can do
you
it
can
off the
also wait
cuff.
till the next one if you want to go
No, no.
back.
I
And
can
I've
go
got our
back.
list up.
So
So if you want to,
Icarus was first. So
yeah,
Icarus, I have to say 8 out of 10.
okay. Then we
Then
have
there's
the
the
imposter.
imposter, which is like a 6 out of 10 because Icarus
Okay,
was
yeah, yeah.
um then
Searching for Sugar Man.
Searching for Sugar Man, I want to say it was like what the fuck was like a 3-4. Like it wasn't too
Yeah,
much, but it was like it was still what the fuck. This one, like I said, 11 out of 10.
yeah. No,
I
I'm gonna ask now, like for the qualifiers, not for these movies, but like going forward, right? I think we can easily explain in terms of like how many what the fuck moments or how jacked up it got you, or like the fact that you're.
yeah, like it's like what? And I think
I'm,
and I think that's what makes a good documentary, right? That we can
absolutely.
like access those very like primal emotions and get them out. Um and it's like watching them like pass you by and you're not invested, right? Like it's not that you're not invested. You're kind of having these feelings and you're like it's about this, but it's not about my own stuff and it's a lot easier to have feelings about things that aren't isn't your stuff because you can
Yeah.
kind of disassociate from it. Um but yeah, yeah.
I absolutely just, by the way, added so right, we're type A. We've got Excel
Yeah.
spreadsheets. We've got a
Excel
tracker, right,
spreadsheets.
of all the
We
documentaries
got
we're
a
gonna watch,
tracker.
what we've already watched.
What
I'm
topics we're
asking,
going to talk about.
yes. Well, I just added a column for the what the fuck meter,
We
and maybe we can run some stats on those after we get a couple more of these done to find out
yes.
how many 11 out of 10s has Linda ever rated, or
How
rating our most.
how many and I'm wondering if like the scale changes and so like if it's like really like rough where it's like how many times I'm saying what the fuck in like in while I'm watching. Like I like right now I'm doing it with gut feelings. You know how you measure with your
Yeah,
heart? I'm
yeah, oh yeah.
measuring with my heart here.
We can still go with that, but like
All right.
maybe after a couple of these we'll be like we'll rank all of the documentaries based on like the what the fuck meter, and you can watch.
I'm totally happy to do that. I think that's great.
Yeah,
Um,
so I've already started tracking that.
cool.
I mean, I already have a suggestion for our next one.
All right. Hit me.
We're getting into spooky season,
Right. That's true.
so
Chill is in the air.
chill is in the air. It's spooky season. I don't do scary movies. Like I don't like jump scares. I'll watch some Dateline until I fall asleep and sleep just fine. Don't ask me why. It's a thing. I regret nothing. However,
Same.
one of my favorite movies of all time has always been and will always be The Shining. And between that and it being spooky season and Linda and I really loving a good conspiracy theory, I think we should go with Room 237. It is
Yes.
a documentary about 5 conspiracy theories from the movie The Shining. From the faking of the moon landing to Native American appropriation and curses. It's fascinating.
You have told me about this one before, and I cannot wait for us to talk about this one and watch it and what the fuck meter it, which I think is not the
Ye-
verb, but
We'll come up with a
I
good
think that
thing.
we'll come up with a good verb. Fuck
But I
meter.
think that's a good one in honor of spooky season. I think
Love it,
that's
because
a perfect one.
by the time we do it, it'll be right before.
Yeah.
Um,
And let's see. Let me look up some stuff on this one. So
yep.
is interpretations of Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, which was made in 1980, and is God just one of the greatest, creepiest, most incredible movies ever made, in my honest opinion. Yeah, 5 theories, but like they're straight conspiracy theories. Like it's like straight up conspiracy theories, but um they're interesting. Some of them are heavy, some of them are really kind of like, come on, man. But it's good. So let's see. I know Linda usually does this, but I didn't give a heads up in
No,
terms
no,
of
I
like,
didn't, but I already have it. So it is from 2012.
ah,
Running time of 102 minutes. Had a $5,000 budget and made $367,000 at the box office. Very
nice.
interesting. It's directed by Rodney Asher. And it was released, it actually even had it was released at Cannes and Sundance. So it really got some really good distribution on it, I guess. It is where you can watch it for free is Pluto TV, then Plex, and then there are obviously premium subscriptions for like Amazon, Hulu, Apple TV, Google Play. You can also purchase it if you'd like. Um, but yeah, it's widely available. Um, but yeah, that looks. I love me a conspiracy theory because,
And
and we should
94% Rotten Tomatoes.
94%. I will say this. Me and Elaine have a thing about conspiracy theories. We're smart ladies. We're smart cookies. However, give me a good conspiracy theory and I'll be all over it. All over it. Of course, I'm smarter to know that it's probably not true, but give it to me.
But sometimes it's fun to suspend disbelief.
Of
Go with it.
course.
You know? You
It's
know?
like, oh yeah, this person did, was silenced, or this person, or this plane, or this
Right.
plane, or this plane disappeared out of nowhere. Like, we don't know what happened, and
In
here's
there.
this is what happened. The CIA came in, and so, like, yeah, it's
Jimmy
fun to
Hoffa's on the
suspend.
50-yard line of Giant Stadium.
That's right. That's what I hear. Somebody should really dig that 50-yard line up. Have people done that? I bet
I
people have
mean, they've
dug up.
they've since moved Giant Stadium since
Ah,
like that
okay.
year started. So, so yeah, he
But
not
where
done.
is he? Where is he?
I don't know. I don't know, but I loved I think The Irishman, um the Netflix movie with Joe
Oh,
Pesci
yeah.
and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Robert De Niro, and all of the men who were in all my favorite movies growing up, Goodfellas, my I'm pretty sure they alluded to that in that movie, and I was like, I love this. This is
Yeah.
fantastic.
And I
But
mean,
yeah,
there's so
I
many
love a good
like Easter eggs, like in a show that we quote a lot. One of the characters, like, you don't really know how old he is, and he has like, hey, my this is my dad's suit, and it has the name God, the the guy that like disappeared on an airplane with a ton of money. Why am I
TV
blanking on his
Cooper.
name?
TV Cooper.
DB Cooper. So like it's DB Cooper and
DB Cooper.
because
Oh my gosh.
it's
I
everywhere.
mean, DB Cooper is another one of my favorite little mysteries. And so when the first season of Loki,
Yeah.
when Loki essentially like they say that he was DB Cooper,
He's
I was like,
DB Cooper.
fuck yes. I'm
Fuck yeah.
1000% here for
Oh,
all it is.
of course, because that's the only thing that explains it.
It's the only thing that explains it. One of the podcasts I listen to called Criminal, which is absolutely fantastic, by the
Oh,
way.
I've heard about this.
Yes. Oh, she just had me in tears. She just did a podcast about her mother who passed away recently, and I was power washing the house and just letting it all out.
Nice.
But it just, if you don't listen to it, I highly recommend it. But she's had a couple episodes of potential like either DB Cooper suspects or later cases that were inspired by DB Cooper, because some people like saw what he did and they were like, I could fucking do that. And so there's like a bunch of men mostly who tried the same thing. And she's got a whole bunch of episodes on that, which I just find fascinating.
Interesting.
Just fascinating.
Well,
Couldn't pay me to jump out of a plane now, like let alone.
Oh, actually, I do want to do it, but I did want to do it, but now that I have kids, I'm not going to do it until they're like older and like if I can.
I have
But I
no
would just.
desire.
I don't know why, and it's not like I would like do it. It's just I'm curious about it. I would also barf everywhere. I don't know if you know this about me, everybody. I barf a lot, and I mean this, in like the I have barf bags in my purse. I walk around with barf bags. That's how much I barf. Yeah, so I don't know why I have this thing where I'm totally day gonna jump out of a plane. Or I wonder if it's like it's one of those things that you say, like I'm totally gonna, totally gonna have happy hour with that person, and you never actually do it. You just say that you do it. So maybe it's like doing it to like make me feel like I'm, cool and fun or something. I'm not gonna jump out of
Maybe
a
you'll
plane.
do it someday. You never know.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do it now with the kids. There's no way.
No, no,
Like, because the thing
no.
I would be thinking about, like, what if the fucking parachute
Oh, yeah.
doesn't
Listen,
work?
I've been swimming with 9 different kinds of sharks, no cages involved. I've been hot air ballooning. I've done a lot of like scary shit. I will not jump out of a plane and I will not bungee jump. I have enough joint, like lower back, hip, ankle issues. Like, no fucking way.
Yeah, it's like
No fucking
maybe that's what it is. Like with the age, like you would just like it's true, like the recoil of the bungee,
way.
like the bungee jump, I'm not like interested in because half of me would be like I would swing into something and like die.
Yeah.
Like I'd be like ah! And then I would like run into the
If given a choice, like if my life depended on it, you have to go skydiving or you have to bungee jump. Skydiving,
skydive for sure. Like I
hands
would
down,
not bungee jump.
because I would be so worried about my joints. Because I'm an old ass lady.
Ditto. Ditto. Like I remember like when my kids were like babies and I'd like put them down to sleep, my knees would crack so hard as I was walking out and I'd be like, God damn it. If they wake up because of this cracking, I will throw myself off this hill.
Oh my god. I
Yeah.
feel that in my
God.
soul. But you probably won't catch me playing arcade games in my garage. But like, God
Same.
bless Steve Wiebe.
And his wife. They really
Yes.
took down a giant. They really did.
And his comeuppance, they're coming.
They're coming. They're coming.
They've come and gone, and like he's still fighting all this stuff, but like,
Yeah. But that's the thing. Like eventually somebody will fight it. Um they will always fight it. And that's what we have here. And that is um yeah, that like now it feels like I'm like coming off a high. Like I'm like so angry that I'm like what the like it's just like you're just like it's like
he finally let it out.
I finally let it out. My emotions, I'm spent.
Yeah,
God,
I love it. I'm just glad
it's go ahead.
I'm just glad I'm getting the reactions that I hope to get because they're good movies. They are interesting stories, and I need more people to talk about these things with because I watch some random ass shit.
That you do. That you do. Every time I get a text or like she asks me, she's like, "Did you watch this?" I'm like, "Really? You think really? Like I
Really?
watched this? Like I really?" There's a Linda
Now I'm just
meter also. There's a Linda meter on like I think we talked about this before. There's a Linda meter on whether I should be watching something or not. So,
yes, yes. There's always
because
um yeah, sometimes I won't even say have you seen it. I'll just be like, yeah, this is not Linda approved. And there are some on this list where like I will give you the heads up. Like when we go heavy, there will be a warning. There will be a trigger warning
and
because
I
there are some
will
on this list that are very upsetting.
so this is the thing with documentaries. I can watch those because
Yeah.
I'll clinically watch them and be like, "Oh, this is." Like it's not apart from this fistful of quarters. It's not necessarily emotional, but
Yeah.
it's like I can philosophic like immediately as I was getting angry, I go, well, this is patriarchy. This is kind of an analogy for right. So I go directly to kind of philosophizing about it. Is that the word? Um, philosoph- whatever, man.
Philosophizing? Oh boy.
Philosophizing.
We're sick,
That
guys.
that
We have
that
colds.
se-
Are we? Our
that
heads are.
seems fake. We speak with authority, but don't believe us. Um, or believe us. It's a conspiracy theory. Um, maybe more conspiracy theories. Shit. Um,
Life is a simulation.
it's a. Oh my god, I'm reading the most horrible romance novel right now. I'm like, the fuck is happening to me? And there was because there was in the thing there was like, oh, it feels like I've taken the pill. And I'm like, what are you talking about? This is like a romance novel where you're like invoking the fucking Matrix. Like, what the fuck? Um, but yeah, I like instantly go, what is this trying to say? What is this
Yeah.
making me try to understand about my world? And I think that's that and I don't think people see movies and documentaries and music as a form of understanding the world we're living in
Yeah.
because it is. I mean,
It is.
think about music that's coming out now. It's like disposable, it's quick, it's done. We are in such a short attention span sort of like world
Yep.
that music is reflecting that. Like our movies, what is it like the same like sequels or things like that that are being it's our world is becoming and as we're looking at art, we're looking at it in a form of either shock factor or
Yeah.
just quick or getting things out quickly. And I think a lot of artists are looking at that seriously to say, what
Wait a
does it
minute.
mean? Yeah,
Right.
what does it mean? This like kind of streaming Spotify type of thing. And I don't mean by Spotify, but I mean like constantly being able to stream something,
Not needing an
having
album per
not
se.
needing an
Like
L.
yeah. Like
Exactly.
we're not beholden to these 12 tracks on a CD or two sides of a cassette tape. Yeah.
Exactly, and we can release them when we want. There isn't that traditional sense. So
Exactly.
the world is really shifting and I think us all should be looking at art in that way. How does it make us understand the world? And I think, you know, it comes to the documentary, The Fistful of Quarters really tries to make you understand in the 2007s like, you know, we were going what was it like 2000 was like the George Bush thing, Supreme Court,
Hmm.
the whole like, you know, hanging chads. Then you had like 9/11. Then you had the Iraq War. Then you had a lot of stuff happening in the world that was kind of shifting, going, wait a second, these people that are telling you things, maybe we should be looking at it in a different way. And I think
Well, 9/11's when the 24/7 news cycle started. That wasn't a thing
Exactly.
before that. It
That's
wasn't.
true. Right. Yeah.
So, talk about, like, a seismic shift. But, yeah,
And I
there's,
think all of that like fits into this. It fits into how we're
absolutely.
understanding our world and how we understand it.
Yeah, and you're talking to someone who is a massive Grateful Dead fan, and the Allman Brothers are my favorite band, and they have, like, 35-minute jams, so 2.5-minute song like, my music playlist will go from, like, a 2.5-minute pop song to a 35-minute jam. It's like, what is happening? And that's kinda how we're gonna whiplash these documentaries too, because I'm gonna name a couple because like you're gonna have to mentally prepare for them because The Cove is on here, which I watched I think the same exact weekend I watched The King of Kong. Like I think those were the two movies that I had at the same
Okay.
time. The Cove is about um how aquariums used to acquire dolphins from Japan. It's very upsetting, but it's an incredible story. The woman, speaking of 9/11, you want to get real fired up. There's a documentary called The Woman Who Wasn't There we're going to watch.
I've yes.
Oh,
I've heard of that
I'm
one
getting
too.
enraged just watching that one too. But yeah, Three Identical Strangers, like get ready.
Oh, three ident I get every time I think of three that one I've watched.
We're doing that one.
Every time.
We're doing that
Every
one.
time. And like I watched it right after I had my child, my first child. And I also was hormonal, number 1.
Oh my god. No.
And number 2 was COVID. Number
Yeah.
3, yeah, uh, having a child that I had to be responsible
Yeah.
for.
My mom
I
watched it, and she knows some of the names from Yale. My mom worked at Yale
No.
for 25 years in the neurology department in the School of Medicine at Yale, and she knew some of those names. She wasn't, like, directly connected to them, but she called me, and she's like, "Holy shit! Did you watch this?" I was like, "Yeah, girl, I did." And she's like I was like, "I was praying to God you weren't you weren't gonna call me and tell me that you knew those names." She's like, "Everybody knew those fucking names. Everybody." Yeah. So we'll get into that one. We'll get into that one for
I
sure.
mean, I'm gonna
But
start crying just remembering that documentary.
I know, I know. But we're also gonna like I may make you watch the Long Strange Trip, which is a hefty, it's the story of the Grateful Dead, but it's long and it's hefty.
Oh.
So like we're gonna go all over the place. I got
Hey,
wine documentaries,
we
all
and
sorts.
this and I think this gets us back to the reason why we started this podcast. It's okay to like radically
All
different things. Like all the things. Yes, be an expert in one thing, whatever. But be interested in other things. Be interested
Yeah.
in more than just one topic. Be intellectually curious. And it could be you liking one thing and going, "Hey, I'm going to read up a little bit more out of why this started or whatever." Right? So, I think there's a lot of things where we put society makes us stay in a box and we stay there. And the concept of you have to break out of that.
Yeah, fuck that.
Break out of that. Fuck boxes
Fuck
is
lanes.
fuck lanes. And as everybody knows, my toxic trait is trying to fit things in receptacles that don't like I tried to pack today going on a trip. I wanted to send you a picture. I'd be like, my toxic trait, like everything trying to, but I got it all in, so it worked out. But basically wanted to show you the trying to fit something into a box and it's not gonna fit. I think just realize that we make our own destiny and you can be interested in multiple things at once.
Yeah. And if you lose interest in something too, that's okay.
Let it
I can't
go.
tell you how many like hobbies I've picked up where I was like super into it and then all of a sudden I was like, I
Eh.
don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah, I've told you about my rule, right? I have 2 rules. One with books and one with movies and shows. Number 1, a book. If I am 50 pages in and I can't get past 50 pages, I'm done with the book. I'm not
Yep.
done forever, but I'm done right there because my brain is like, I don't want to read this. I don't feel like it. So I put it down. I put it down. I go, you know what? I'm going to go read something else because if I stay there, I'm stuck,
Yep.
stagnate into one thing. And so, and then my other thing is about movies and shows. Movies, 10-minute rule. If you're not in it at the first 10 minutes, you're not going to be in it. You're not going to like it. You're just not. You're just going to
10
waste your
minutes.
time. 10 minutes.
All right.
It's, and then with shows is I give them one show. If it's like one episode, like I'll give it one episode. And if I can like sort of get into it, then fine. Then I'll try the second one. But
We'll
yeah,
do
just,
depending on how long the show is. Like if it's a 30-minute episode versus an hour, we might do two to
yeah,
three.
yeah,
But I agree. Like, and now, now it's so important, especially for like an hour-long show with a pilot, to be so captivating because they need to get bought, right? So
yeah.
yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on that.
Does just have your rules, set it up and go, be like, this is how I want to, you are, what is it? You are the architect of your soul, or what is it? Was that line from the movie? I am the master
Of my domain. Just kidding.
or something like that. I don't know. I don't
Just
know.
kidding.
It's fine. We'll look it up for later.
That's
But
a side.
yeah. So that, like I said, what the fuck? Please, if you haven't watched it, I mean, we didn't really, we went through the thing, but I knew the whole plot and I still like, you have to watch this. It's the kind of one that doesn't have necessarily a twist to it, but you just watch it and just sympathize with
Seriously.
with your everyday man. Um, so as always, we will tell you what the next episode is. We already told you what the next doc is. But we next episode, and I think maybe we'll do a little bit of an intro. I think, Elaine and I have been talking about kind of appropriateness versus not appropriateness. Where is the line around when you're talking to somebody? How do you kind of make sure you're, not offending somebody or not saying that is something outdated? And a couple of weeks ago, I think, and we can go into this, it's really talking about Jerry Seinfeld's comment around comedians and thinking about understanding where the line is because the line shifts. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that's a very interesting concept around how to have conversations with other people, how to connect with other people. Um, because especially if you're in a place where not everybody is like you're going to have a very different experience of where you are or you're in a place where everybody is like you. So there is kind of a gauge and a judgment call that you have to make sometimes as you're going. I think that's going to be our next topic, which I don't think you can distill in a word or two, but it's really more about understanding how a conversation flows and making sure that you understand the context of which you live in, not to make a coconut pun, but understanding the context in which you're living.
I love
Let's
it.
just call it the coconut episode and just be done with
Coconut
it.
episode.
The coconut episode.
Or green.
Yeah.
Brat green.
Oh my goodness.
I love it.
We're not well. But yeah, so thank you so much for joining us. Thank you as always for joining us. And I'm sorry we leave this in hysterics, but also I'm not sorry that we leave
No,
you
no,
in
sorry.
hysterics because we're doing this to laugh and we're doing this to have fun and fuck, we're having fun. So there you go.
That's right.
And I will hand it over to Elaine for our send off.
Stay interested, everybody.